What's up, guys? I am in my Florida vacation rental slash house rental place for Christmas. Here's what it looks like, real quick. And today I'm going to be talking about Shark Tank and what I think about it. It's kind of random, but I watch a lot of Shark Tank. It's basically this TV show, and it's a business show. There's five sharks, as you call them, and they sit down. They're investors, and they're millionaires. One of them is a billionaire, and basically, they decide who they want to invest in. People come in with their ideas and their businesses, and they ask for investments for a percentage equity in their company. And these sharks decide each time someone comes in whether or not to invest. And they argue over it and try and reduce the equity or make new deals. So that's the premise of the show, and I've actually watched quite a lot of it. And here's my thoughts on it. I think there's a lot of different types of businesses that walk into Shark Tank, and I think Shark Tank really helps the ones who are in dire need of that money, and those are the businesses who are out of other options. They can't get loans or anything for any other reason, and these types of people can be broken down into two big categories. One are the type of people who like, this is their last line and they need that money because they're going to go bankrupt otherwise, and they're pretty much in the stage of either proof of concept, or they have something going and they see a lot of potential, but they can't get there without money, and for whatever reason they can't get the money through their sales or inventory or whatever. Then the other type is the people who they're not stuck in the rut. They have tremendous demand. They have a lot of orders, and since they're growing so quickly, they can't fulfill all their orders. And I guess these two people, like, this is what Shark Tank helps the most. And then you get those other groups who are doing it for the wrong reasons, which I think the minute they stepped into the show, they kind of screwed themselves over, because it looks like their business is booming. They have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in sales every year, and they just started a year or 2 or 3 years ago. And it almost looks like they're just simply walking into the show just to get on television or just to show off to the sharks. And these people get screwed over because they're looking for deals. Some of them make good offers, but they honestly don't need the money. They don't need, they convince themselves that they need the help of a shark as a financial partner or whatever, but honestly they don't, and they're scared, and since it's their first business, they feel like they do, and they end up either giving away a lot of equity or royalty, which if it's a royalty, it siphons the business, and yeah, they end up just giving away a lot of ownership to their company, and they don't even need to do that because they don't need the money, because they can get it from their sales and so forth. And so I find that really, really stupid. I mean, I've seen a few businesses like that, and there's a lot of other businesses. I mean, the thing with Shark Tank is, I feel like a lot of these people that walk into it, they're just not too business savvy, and for whatever reason they don't want to do the research online. I feel like a lot of the information stuff they need can be found online, and they either don't want to do that extra work, or they feel like an experienced partner who can do that for them is for the better. I mean, sometimes we get farmers and people like that on the website or on the show, and I think That's stupid in some ways, but in other ways, if you know you're not good at something, it may be a good thing to do. So that can or cannot be beneficial. The one problem is though that especially if you're not really business savvy, it's very clear that these sharks are most, if not all the time, they're trying to get as much as they can. So um, if you're not good at bargaining and valuing your company and dealing, they can convince you to give up a large percentage of your company away at a price that's pretty much ripping you off, and you don't even realize it. At the same time, from experience and from what I've heard from the interviews from these sharks, they are in fact at least of I I'm pretty much basing it off one shark, um, and he mentioned that the success of the companies he invests in is like 1 in 17, which increased to 1 in 25 once he started the American show. And that's really bad numbers. I mean, that means 16 or 24 of the companies he invests in. I mean, he on average they put in like $100,000 for like a small percentage of each company. Those all of those fail, and he says luckily the ones that succeed make up for all the failures in investments. But that's a risky gamble. But that's the world of venture capital for you. So it's very risky, and um, because of that, I can kind of realize why the sharks want to get their money's worth, and they don't mind. And I can see it after watching a lot of it that oftentimes they're trying to exploit or get as much equity as they can in the company without you realizing it's a bad deal. Um, and I guess the ones that irk me are the guys who walk in the show trying to show off. There's this one dude in the most recent episode. He walks in with flip flops, um, and he pretty much sits there for like 20 minutes showing off. He's got this new sort of scan. It's a scannable app on the iPhone and Android, and it pretty much can scan QR codes and so forth for you. And he has this. He's talking it up, showing this like ticker where every second there's more people downloading it, and it's already at 20 million. And he goes on and on about it. Then he brings out the Google glasses, and he's like, this is still in prototype, but I just got it mailed from Google, and it's so cool, blah 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 blah. And he goes on and on about it, and at the end of the day he has zero sales. And he's pretty much saying how this can become marketable through advertisements, and he's at $0 per sale, and it's all just concepts. He hasn't really made any sales, and you can just tell this guy's like showing off and stuff. And he mentions like he already has like millions of dollars worth of investment from other investors, angel investors, and so forth. And this guy's just showing off on the show. And these are the type of people that are just stupid. He didn't actually get any of the sharks to invest in him, but I just thought it was completely stupid because someone else could have copied that. Sure, he was doing better because certain aspects he was making faster, cleaner, more efficient, so the scans went through much quicker. But for that to take off into some very successful $1 million company, that has yet to happen with an app out of the hundreds of thousands of apps, except for like a couple. Maybe just the only one I can think of is Angry Birds, and Angry Birds is going to die eventually. It's been going on. It's been very successful, but it's on a decline. But Angry Birds has made millions of dollars, and I don't see that with this scannable QR free thing. And I don't know, like I feel like those are the big two categories when we're talking about Shark Tank. The ones who just are there to show off, and then the ones who really need the money, which is where Shark Tank really helps, because some of these guys can make it to the end zone. They just need that initial investment to push them through. Others, on the other hand, um, they think they can make it, but their whole plan is crap. And then you got those who are, as I mentioned before, they have multiple orders coming in, tons and tons of orders, and for whatever reason, they go on the Shark Tank with a lot of demand already and a lot of success already. I've seen many businesses like a grilled cheese business trying to expand to a franchise, who have hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales already, and other businesses and so forth. And their problem is the good problem, which is they have so much demand and they can't keep up, and they're trying to grow quickly. And I'm really confused about these because it's almost like an impatience to just grow at a pace you can, and rather than doing that, they get greedy and they're like, um, I can't wait, so I'm going to give up equity in my company so that I can grow enough and meet all the demand that I can't meet right now given my size, and I'm gonna make a lot more money, but technically not that much because I'm giving up a lot of equity to do so. And one could say that's impatience, one could say that's fear of competition, but then again, if you fear competition, your product isn't unique. It's just a product that deep down you feel is going to be overrun one day when the competition eats you alive, and that's not a good company or business or product. Um, and so it really boggles my mind why these companies just, these businesses, why can't they just be more patient and look to other means to satisfy that impatience and just grow slowly? Maybe if they need to, look to small investors or small loans. And I really don't think that's needed. Um, I recently watched in a video that Microsoft, yes, Microsoft, the company that made Bill Gates well, he was the richest person in the world. That company, from the day it was started to now, all the money that was put in was $50,000. That's it. And if Bill Gates can do that with Microsoft, then all these other businesses who are just impatient and looking for money, asking for hundreds of thousands of dollars as investment, they're really stupid. I think of those big businesses with growth and who may or may not need the money, I think the only ones that really make it out alive in a positive way are the ones that have a thriving business, are doing well, and don't get any offers from the shark or choose to turn down all the offers, because these are the people who get the exposure from the show as free marketing. And I think probably 90% of the people on the show undervalue this. They don't even notice it, but until after the show, of course, because I've seen dozens of success stories where the businesses that walk into the show, they either get the deal or they don't get the deal, but the end result is, I mean, this Shark Tank show and the previous versions in other nations called Dragon's Den, these shows, these episodes are shown to millions of people on TV and cable, and so they reach millions of consumers for free who are willing to watch it. It's not like a commercial where it's forced upon them. People, millions of people tune in to watch Shark Tank, and because of that, I've seen dozens of stories of people with they get like almost 10 times more orders and popularity and sales than they did before the show. if not more, um, because of what's happened. And that's the beauty of Shark Tank. And I'm not saying Shark Tank is completely bad. I'm pretty sure a lot of businesses have made it as big as they possibly can through Shark Tank. Um, Lori, who's a new shark on the show, I really do think that with her connections with QVC and her marketing capabilities with that television network, she has brought a very select few products to their full potential. The one I can think of right now is the sponge one. Um, it's like this like happy face sponge that apparently in the first year after the show, their sales like went up 10, 20 times, and they sold like millions in the first year, something like that. But what you see a lot with this show is a lot of these products are gimmicks, or like it or not, they're one of those things where it's like run until you can't anymore, where it's a fad or gimmick product, and the popularity is almost guaranteed to die off in 5 years maximum, if not less. And that is another problem with venture capital deals. Um, and don't get me wrong, occasionally you'll see something that looks revolutionary, and then it turns out it's not really revolutionary. The guy's just pumping it up to make it seem like it. But every so often there's like a rare gem that's an actually revolutionary product. But most of them are gimmicks or like spin-offs of things that are done slightly in other ways, that aren't very complicated. Like you're gonna see a lot of stuff on the show seem to be like household items that you see on infomercials and stuff like that. Like you're probably not gonna see anything digital or revolutionary like Microsoft or the iPod or a new, like something new like that, like Apple, or the invention of a laptop, or the invention of television, or so forth. Um, Two reasons. Well, one, because it's so, that's a technologically advanced thing, and it's hard to do, and um, not everyone can do it, and those who can, they're they're successful in that they don't need investors. At least that's what I feel. And the second thing is that like these items, like the inventor of the light bulb or the computer or whatever, or these people, the airplane as well. These people didn't become rich. It's the people who took these items and developed a business with them and then sold them that made it rich. I mean, it's sad but true. Um, the biggest example is probably airplanes. The people who have made the most money off airplanes were not the people who invented airplanes by any stretch of the imagination. It's kind of sad, but it's true. It's not the idea; it's the business model. And yeah, so that's kind of my short snippet on Shark Tank. I have a few more opinions, but I don't want to drag it on. And that's all I gotta say. I'm really getting into this business stuff. It's pretty interesting at times. Obviously, I'm not that smart with business, but this is just your average citizen's point of view on the whole thing, and also yeah, it's very interesting. So that's all I gotta say. As always, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Peace.